Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Teresa from the Yarn Shop Around the Corner, and today we're going to talk all about the construction of the Queen's Hats blanket. And I'm calling it a blanket because that's really, I have it laying across a chair in our what we're calling our library, which is really an office with bookshelves and books, but you know, I like to call it the library. And so I have it in there, and that's how we're using it as a throw. And so that's what I'm calling it, the Queen's Hats blanket. And so today I want to talk to you about the construction of how to kind of plan this out and create your own Queen Hats blanket, if you want to. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the yarn. So I used a cotton. I'm in Alabama. In the summertime, my mind turns to cotton because it's such a great versatile material to work with in Alabama. Sorry, excuse me. Goodness, especially for, because our heat. But so I like work the feel of it. And so I had some cotton yarn, and I had a friend who had cotton yarn, and she, gave it to me so sweetly. And so that's what I did. I just started using cotton. Well, I also had this, you see this shiny cotton here? This is noble cotton, and it's a DK weight, and it has a shiny sheen on it. And so I really wanted to use, all cotton. But with that being said, you can use acrylic, you can use whatever you want. I will say that with it, because it's cotton, it's heavy. This is a heavy blanket. I wish that I had done acrylic, but I wanted to use up, I had all this beautiful noble cotton left over when I had the yarn shop, and I just love it. And so I wanted to use it. I knew it would really make the hats pop, and so give it a bright color for all the embellishments. And so that's why I did, cotton. I could have mixed it with acrylic, but I was just in a cotton kind of mood. So you can use any kind of yarn that you want. You can use, I recommend, if I was doing it again, I would use acrylic, though. I will say that, because it's just so heavy. And so I'm not saying it wouldn't be as heavy if you used acrylic, but this is pretty a substantial blanket, and so it's a lot of fun. You see I keep moving it out. So I just enjoy this blanket so much. And so my suggestion is to use a number 4 weight for your squares. And this is a solid granny square. And you can there's so many wonderful tutorials. Of course, the one I'm going to recommend is the one on Ophelia Talks Crochet. Anya, she has a great solid granny square tutorial. And so you can go there. I'll put a link in the description below so that you can quickly and easily find it. But this is, I used a number 4 weight yarn for the squares, and a number 4, which is a G hook, crochet hook, for the squares. For the hats is also cotton, a number 4 weight, and I used the same hook, 4mm, for the hats. Then when it comes to the embellishments, this is a DK weight, so it's thinner. And I went down a hook size. I believe I went to a 3.5. I might have went even to a 3.25 on some of these. But this, I just went down a size. So if you want to change, this whole project is about you making something that is, inspires you and is fun for you, and it opens up your creativity. And so use the yarn that you want to work with, that you enjoy holding and touching, and use the hook size that corresponds with it for the squares. Now, for your hats, I'll tell you when we do the hat video, I'll tell you some little tricks that I did to make the hats a little bit more dense. But you can go down a hook size on those as well, to make it just a tighter knit, more dense. But there's some other tricks I'll tell you about on that later. So just remember, on your squares and your hats, on your project, if you feel it's too holy and you want it to be a little bit more together, then, or I use the word dense because I just feel like that really explains it. But then just go down a hook size and it'll give you a tighter, I was going to say knit, but this is not knit. It'll give you a tighter stitch. How about that? And so it'll give it more density. Don't think density is the right word, but we're sticking with it because it's what's on my mind today. All right, so that is your materials. Use acrylic if that's what you want. If I make another one, I would definitely use acrylic, but I do love the feel of this with the cotton. But it is a heavy blanket. So you can use acrylic, wool, you can use whatever you want. Just use the hook size that corresponds with your yarn, and that should be found on your label. And then you can always go down a hook size if you want it to have a tighter stitch. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the size of your blanket. Now, believe it or not, I had a plan. It was going to have 25 squares, and in the middle of all these squares, so it was going to be 5 rows of 5. So 5 across, 5 down, and then this was going to be in the center of all of it. And that was going to be a massively huge blanket. And as I was making it, I'll be inserting pictures as I do this video, but I'll show you sort of the different process and different pictures I took along the way. But as I was making it, I was like, okay, I'm never going to get to the fun part, which is putting it together and doing the hats, because I was just making these white squares forever and ever. And so to keep myself encouraged and enjoying the process, I just jumped on ahead and started making the hats. And then I was like, okay, I have 12. This is a good size for me. So find the size that keeps you, encouraged and makes you want to do the blanket. So the next thing I want to tell you about is creativity. Okay, so I'm going to show a picture of my inspiration. And in this project, you really should find pictures and don't let the hats intimidate you. The hats are so easy. They really are. And the embellishments, I mean, this is when you get to have fun with it. I mean, it's such a great project. Some of her hats are slanted up. I'm going to teach you how to do that. She just had so many lovely hats. And I forget that we have a new queen now. So I always refer to her as the queen, but Queen Elizabeth. The late Queen Elizabeth. And so, but she just had all these like neat hats, how that one's a little bit longer here, short. I'm going to teach you how to do all that. But look at pictures. They're all over the internet. Look at pictures, download them, put them in front of you, print them out if you need to. I just kind of kept the pictures as reference every time I felt like, oh, I don't know. And I'm getting stuck. I would go back to a picture and just kind of look at them. And that's part of the enjoyment of this. I got another little one sticking out there, is that I enjoy, her outfits. And so I just enjoyed looking at that. So that's another way, her fashion forward sense. I just enjoyed that. So this kind of helped me really live that out by enjoying, what if I could have designed a hat for the queen? What would I have done? What would it look like? And so this is a very 3D interactive blanket for me. Now you could stitch it down, and I'll talk more about that when I do the embellishments. But for me, I wanted it to be just a fun texture blanket. Okay, so we talked about materials, we talked about the size, we talked about your creativity. The next thing I want to talk about is how long does it take to do this? And that is really up to you. You could do this a year-long project and do 1 block a month. You could do, and you could do it all at the same time. Your creativity and your process of how you make this is really individualized. You can do, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. You can do what works for you. I was so excited about it. I wanted to do it and get it out. But I also knew I wanted to make a video about it. And so I put a little bit more pressure on myself, but I'll say it took me a while to make this. I did it in the evenings. Just when I felt like I just kept doing the squares. And so this is a project that can take as long as you want it to take and go as quick as you want it to take. It's really up to you and how much time you have to put to it and how much time you want to put in it.
Yep,
And I think that's it for this video. This is just the construction to give you a general idea of how I went about making this blanket. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to make the hats. And then in the next video, we'll talk all about embellishments. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.